Chapter 3 Reversal. Martina Burnett took a deep breath, trying to gather her courage. She spoke with a hint of nervousness in her voice. "I'm looking for my parents, Mr. and Mrs. Wheeler. I have important news to share with them." Frida Burnett frowned, her eyes scanning Martina and Clarence skeptically. "I'm sorry, but there must be some mistake. The Wheelers don't have a daughter." Martina's heart sank at the realization that her parents had never disclosed her existence to the Burnetts. She exchanged a quick glance with Clarence, who stepped forward, his voice calm and composed. "Ma'am, there seems to be a misunderstanding," Clarence interjected. "Martina is indeed their daughter, but due to certain circumstances, her identity has been hidden until now. We have come to share the news of our marriage and seek their blessings." Frida Burnett's expression softened slightly as she observed Clarence's confidence and Martina's genuine emotions. She hesitated for a moment before finally relenting. "Well, I suppose you can come in," she said, stepping aside to allow them entry. "I'll inform Mr. and Mrs. Wheeler." Martina and Clarence followed Frida into the house, their hearts filled with a mix of anticipation and apprehension. They were about to face the parents who had kept Martina's existence a secret, unsure of what to expect or how they would be received. Clarence Lester felt a surge of anger welling up within him as he watched Martina being dragged away by Frida Burnett. He couldn't let Martina face this alone. Determined to stand up for their love, he stepped forward and firmly placed himself between Frida and Martina. "Mrs. Burnett, I understand your concerns, but I assure you that my intentions towards Martina are genuine," Clarence asserted, his voice steady and resolute. "I love her, and I will do everything in my power to make her happy." Frida Burnett sneered at Clarence's words. "Love? You expect me to believe that? You, a nobody, could never truly love my daughter. You're just after our wealth." Clarence's eyes flashed with determination as he met Frida's gaze. "I understand that my background may not be as privileged as yours, but wealth has never been the foundation of love. Martina and I have a deep connection that goes beyond material possessions. I have worked hard to prove myself and to provide for her, not out of greed but out of love." He took a step forward, his voice filled with sincerity. "Mrs. Burnett, I am here to ask for your understanding and acceptance. Martina and I have chosen to be together, and I hope you can support us as her mother." Frida Burnett looked at Clarence, her eyes reflecting a mixture of doubt and vulnerability. After a tense moment, she released her grip on Martina and took a step back. "Fine," she said, her voice tinged with resignation. "If this is what you both want, then I will give my blessing. But don't think for a second that I won't be watching." Martina Burnett couldn't believe her ears. She looked at her mother with gratitude and relief, tears welling up in her eyes. "Thank you, Mom," she whispered, her voice filled with emotion. "You won't regret it, I promise." With that, Martina and Clarence walked past Frida Burnett and entered the house together, ready to face the challenges ahead and build a future based on love and understanding. Clarence Lester's face turned cold as he witnessed Martina being slapped and verbally attacked. He stepped forward, placing himself between Martina and her mother and grandfather. "Enough!" Clarence's voice resonated with authority, his eyes filled with determination. "I will not stand by and watch Martina being treated this way. She is my wife, and I love her deeply. It doesn't matter what your social status or wealth is. Love transcends all of that." Here Burnett and Frida Burnett were taken aback by Clarence's sudden display of assertiveness. They had never seen such conviction in someone they considered beneath them. "Do you think Martina's happiness can be bought with money and status?" Clarence continued, his voice unwavering. "She deserves to be treated with love, respect, and dignity, regardless of her appearance or our financial circumstances. I may not be as rich as you, but I have something more valuable to offer her, genuine love and unwavering support." Clarence turned to Martina, his eyes softening. Martina, I'm sorry you had to endure this. You deserve so much better. We will face whatever challenges come our way together, as a team. Martina, tears streaming down her face, looked at Clarence with gratitude and love. She had never felt so protected and cared for before. Kier Burnett and Frida Burnett exchanged glances, realizing the depth of their mistake. Their eyes softened, and guilt began to creep in. I'm sorry, Kier Burnett finally spoke up, his voice filled with remorse. We were blinded by our own prejudices and failed to see what truly matters. Clarence, if you love Martina and can make her happy, then that is all that matters. We will support your relationship. Frida Burnett, too, felt a pang of guilt. She approached Martina, her voice trembling with emotion. Martina, I'm sorry for the way I treated you. I didn't see your inner beauty, and I should have trusted your judgment. Please forgive me. Martina, overwhelmed by the turn of events, nodded and embraced her mother. The family began to realize that love and happiness were not dependent on societal expectations or material wealth. From that day forward, Martina and Clarence faced the world together, their love serving as a reminder that true beauty lies within. The Burnetts gradually learned to appreciate Martina for who she truly was. And their family bonds grew stronger as they embraced the power of love and acceptance. I have only one daughter, just like you. If you marry someone unworthy, how can I continue living? Frida Burnett's voice trembled with a mixture of disbelief and fear. Martina Burnett was all too familiar with her mother's manipulative tactics, but this time she had to take a stand. In an act of desperation, Martina grabbed a fruit knife from the nearby table and pressed the blade against her cheek. Challenging her mother, "Is it because I've returned to my former self that you want to take away my chance with Clarence Lester?" The message was clear: if she didn't agree to be with him, she would scar her own face irreversibly. Frida stood frozen, unable to comprehend the extent of Martina's determination. The tense atmosphere was shattered by the intervention of the Burnett's grandfather. He implored, "Enough! What happened to decency?" He turned to Martina, pleading, "Put the knife down, my dear. We're only doing this for your own good. We were forced to choose a son-in-law for you before, but now, with your beauty, you can have anyone you desire. How can the Burnetts bear the shame of having recruited a son-in-law only to discard him?" Frida added, her voice laced with indignation. But Clarence, who had remained silent until now, stepped forward and said firmly, "When did I ever claim to be the Burnetts' son-in-law? This is between Martina and me. We will sort this out on our own terms. We already have our license. It's Martina's decision to make, even if it means we part ways." Damon Burnett, unable to contain his anger, confronted Clarence, positioning himself as the protector of the Burnetts' honor. "Who do you think you are? This is a family matter. What right do you have to speak as our son-in-law?" He sneered and pulled out a check from his pocket, taunting Clarence with his own assumptions. "Isn't money the reason you sought to become a part of the Burnetts family? Take this 1 million and disappear." Damon tossed the check arrogantly, but Clarence didn't flinch. He met Damon's gaze, his voice unwavering. "Is that all you think I'm worth? Pathetic. 200. Clarence's words trailed off as a powerful grip closed around Damon's neck. The room fell silent, stunned by the sudden turn of events. The air crackled with tension as Clarence's question hung in the air. "How much is a life worth to you?" In that moment, the world stood still, witnessing the collision of love, greed, and the indomitable strength of the human spirit. The choices made would shape the course of their lives, forcing them to confront the depths of their desires, the fragility of their bonds, and the unyielding power of love's redemption.